Baroness Mone story, as it lingers on, is important because it tells us something. Well, A, because it tells us something, B, because it exposes her, but C, and most importantly, because it suggests that we can never again trust a lawyer's denial. So 3 different firms of lawyers have been engaged by Mone and her husband to deny that they were still involved in MedPro. And now we learn that actually they were always involved. And more than that, what we learned today or yesterday was that the government has always known this, and specifically the Cabinet Office. So they had submitted a declaration that they were involved, so the government has always known. So at the same time that Baroness Mone, I've now learned how to pronounce her name, by the way, not Baroness Money or Baroness Moon or Baroness Mooney, it's Baroness Mone, as in M-O-A-N. Baroness Mone, though she spells it M-O-N-E, Baroness Mone, all the time that she was getting her lawyers to deny involvement, she was in fact encouraging them to lie, because she knew, and the government knew, that she was in fact party to this whole plan. So the government presumably was fully aware of Baroness Mone's involvement, so therefore was in some way conspiring against these lawyers, against the public, against basic truth. It's a horrible story. It's a horrible story, and as I say, the third and most important principle that we must take from this is that we cannot trust a lawyer's denial anymore. It has no weight. These solicitors' letters are a waste of time, a complete waste of time. This has punctured not only Baroness Mone's defence, but also the legal system in a way that probably is bigger than anything that Suella Braverman has tried to do. Suella Braverman has seriously damaged the standing of law in this country by saying that she wants to test the limits of the law. Well, that's what a criminal does when he throws a brick through a bank window, testing the limits of the law. And now we see that the government has connived with Baroness Mone to deceive anyone asking questions about the truth. They have connived. So in November 2022, we had all these denials. Baroness Mone is not connected with PPE MedPro, and her husband is not part of any consortium or part of this company, her husband Douglas Barrowman. All rubbish. A stream of sleazy deceit leaked put out by lawyers in their name. And now we know that this document that came out about a year ago that suggested £65 million was paid to Barrowman, and that he then transferred some of that money to Baroness Mone and to her children, and then you've got all the pictures of her posing in a slightly stretched sun suit on an expensive yacht, which could or could not have been bought with the proceeds of all this money. Who knows how she got that yacht? Who knows how she got the bathing suit? Who cares, frankly? Because there are bigger issues at stake than a yacht or a bathing suit or a stupid photograph. What is at stake is the veracity of law. These emphatic denials, now overturned by a spokesperson. Both of these people, Moon and her husband, were involved in PPE and MedPro, but the government knew. The government was aware of Baroness Mone's involvement. So, like many peers and MPs, she acted as an intermediary or liaison between various organisations. That much was a part of Hancock's plan to get these to supply much needed PPE, because let's not forget Jeremy Hunt had had squandered the stockpiling of PPE. So we simply didn't have the PPE for a crisis when it was needed. This is Hunt's fault. And it's not made any better by Matt Hancock, but it is Hunt's fault. And Hunt is now the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Hunt's hands are all over the Baroness Mone problem. And so we've got this claim that there was a written disclosure made to the Cabinet Office, so the government is party to the duplicity. The government knew, while Mone and her lawyers were issuing clear deceits, clear denials, clear statements. This complicity of duplicity, the complicity of duplicity, and of course, lying behind all this is the absurdity that when there were real PPE companies lining up to help, and they didn't get a look in. Instead, we had this high priority lane, which was anybody connected, anybody with a political connection, anybody who knew somebody in Parliament. Oh yeah, they're our friends, Hancock's mates. These people got the contract, which they then passed to amateurs because of their potential sponsorship. This is just jobs for the boys at a time of a national crisis. It's people exploiting our crisis, our fate, people's lives for their own pocket, for their own wealth. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Mone was the only one at it, but she's one of the few who's been caught, and she's been caught red-handed, and she is now implicating the government itself in the story, which I'm sure is entirely true. It's a story of sleaze that goes to the heart of the Cabinet Office. And I don't like what I hear. I don't like to think that our government is predicated on lying to the people, on lying to each other, on lying simply to get rich. That's called daylight robbery, isn't it? That's called testing the limits of the law. And how can we possibly have so many people locked up in prison when we have self-confessed cheats parading around in the House of Lords? I don't understand how this is remotely possible.